My ex turned everyone against me until the evidence surfaced. They say a lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth even puts on its shoes. I learned that the hard way. For 6 months, I watched people I'd known for years look at me like I was some kind of monster. Friends stopped answering my texts. My coworkers whispered when I walked past. Even my own sister asked me if there was anything I wanted to admit. The worst part? I didn't even know what I'd supposedly done. By the time I found out, my reputation was already destroyed. And the person responsible? The woman I had once planned to marry. But she forgot one thing. Lies have an expiration date. And when the evidence finally surfaced, her entire world collapsed. My name is Ethan. I'm 32 years old, and until last year, I believed life was finally settling down. I worked as a project manager for a construction company outside Denver. Nothing glamorous, just honest work that paid the bills. My weekdays were packed with meetings, deadlines, and coffee. My weekends were usually spent hiking, grilling with friends, or binge-watching documentaries. Then there was Claire. We met at a charity fundraiser through mutual friends. She was confident, funny, and somehow made everyone around her feel important. Our first conversation lasted almost 3 hours. By the end of the night, she joked that she'd probably marry me one day. I laughed. Looking back, I wish I'd walked away right then. For almost 3 years, everything looked perfect from the outside. We traveled together, spent holidays with each other's families, adopted a golden retriever named Cooper, talked about buying a house. People constantly told us we were relationship goals. Funny how social media can make a disaster look beautiful. The problem started slowly. Claire became obsessed with appearances. Every dinner had to become an Instagram story. Every vacation had to look luxurious, even if we couldn't really afford it. She cared more about strangers online than conversations at home. If I suggested staying in instead of going somewhere expensive, she'd call me boring. If I questioned another unnecessary purchase, she'd accuse me of being controlling. At first, I thought it was stress. Everyone goes through rough patches. Relationships require patience. Or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. Then the arguments changed. They weren't about money anymore. They became personal. My character. You never support me. You don't appreciate me. You make me feel trapped. I'd spend hours apologizing for things I didn't even understand. Eventually, apologizing became easier than defending myself. One Friday evening, I came home early with flowers. I wanted to surprise her after a difficult week. Instead, I found our apartment almost empty. Half her clothes were gone. The framed photos had disappeared from the shelves. Her makeup drawer was empty. Only one thing remained, a folded piece of paper on the kitchen counter. Don't call me. I deserve better. By the time you read this, everyone will know who you really are. No signature, no explanation, just those 12 words. I called her anyway, straight to voicemail, again, blocked. Instagram, blocked. Facebook, blocked. Even our shared Spotify playlist had disappeared. It felt unreal. 3 years, ended with a note. I barely slept that weekend. Monday morning was even worse. As soon as I walked into work, conversations stopped. People stared. One coworker actually stepped away when I entered the break room. Another wouldn't even make eye contact. Around lunch, my manager asked me to come into his office. He closed the door, folded his hands, and sighed. I've received some concerning messages. My stomach dropped. What messages? He hesitated. Several people have contacted HR. What are you talking about? He slid his laptop toward me. There were screenshots, dozens of them, Facebook posts, Instagram stories, tweets, all from Claire. She claimed I'd manipulated her for years, that I isolated her from friends, controlled every dollar she spent, verbally abused her, destroyed her confidence. According to her, she had finally escaped. The comments underneath were brutal. "You're so brave. Men like him belong in prison. Expose him. Make sure every employer knows." Thousands of likes, hundreds of shares. People I'd met at birthdays, family barbecues, office parties. They were commenting without ever asking me what happened. One coworker had even written, "I always knew something felt off about him." I stared at the screen, speechless, because every single word was false. Every single word. My manager finally broke the silence. "I'm not saying I believe it, but HR has to investigate." That sentence followed me home like a shadow. Within days, friends canceled plans. Neighbors stopped waving. Even my own mother called with a trembling voice. "Ethan, please just tell me the truth." I couldn't believe she had to ask. The woman who raised me needed reassurance that her son wasn't the man social media claimed he was. That's when I realized something terrifying. Facts didn't matter anymore. The story everyone wanted to believe had already been written, and I had been cast as the villain. For weeks I tried defending myself. I posted a calm statement, ignored insults, answered questions honestly. It didn't help, because outrage spreads faster than evidence. Every explanation I gave was called manipulation. Every denial became proof that I was guilty. Eventually, I stopped talking. I stopped opening social media. I stopped answering unknown numbers. Then, one rainy Tuesday night, someone knocked on my apartment door. I opened it. Standing there was a woman I'd never seen before. She looked nervous. She held a small cardboard box against her chest. "Are you Ethan?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She swallowed hard. "My name is Megan. I think you deserve to know what Claire has been hiding." Then she handed me the box. And everything I believed about the past 6 months was about to change forever. I looked down at the cardboard box in Megan's hands. It wasn't taped shut. No label, no note, just an old shoebox that looked like it had been sitting in someone's closet for months. "I can't stay," Megan said quietly. "If Claire finds out I came here, she'll ruin me too." I frowned. "You know Claire?" She gave a small, bitter laugh. I thought I did. Before I could ask another question, she hurried toward the parking lot. She got into an older Honda Civic and drove away without looking back. I stood there for a full minute. Rain dripped from the roof onto the front steps. My heart was pounding. Something about her expression told me this wasn't a prank. I carried the box inside, locked the door, and slowly lifted the lid. Inside were 3 things: a flash drive, a small notebook, and an envelope with my name written across the front. The handwriting wasn't Claire's. I opened the envelope first. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Ethan, you don't know me well, but my name is Megan. Claire and I worked together for almost a year. At first, I believed everything she said about you. She told everyone you were dangerous, controlling, and emotionally abusive. Then, I started noticing things that didn't make sense. She kept changing details of the story. Sometimes she'd say you controlled her bank account. Other times she'd admit she had her own account the entire relationship. She claimed you isolated her from friends, but I watched her cancel plans with people who challenged her. Eventually, I discovered she wasn't just lying about you. She lies about almost everyone." I stopped reading. For the first time in months, I felt something other than anger. Hope. Tiny, fragile, but real. I grabbed my laptop and plugged in the flash drive. There were dozens of folders, screenshots, voice recordings, photos, videos, everything organized by date. Whoever collected this evidence had been incredibly careful. The first recording began playing. Claire's voice filled the room. She was laughing. Not crying, not scared, laughing. "I swear," she said, "if you tell people a guy is emotionally abusive, nobody even asks for proof anymore." Another woman's voice asked, What if someone checks? Claire laughed even harder. They won't. People love a victim more than they love the truth. I froze. I replayed it. Twice. 3 times. It was unmistakably her voice. Then another recording started. I need everyone on my side before Ethan realizes what's happening. If I leave first, I control the story. The room suddenly felt too quiet. For 6 months, I'd questioned my own memory. Wondered if maybe I'd unknowingly done something wrong. That recording erased every ounce of doubt. This had been planned. Every accusation, every post, every tear she filmed for social media, planned. I spent the next 4 hours going through the files. There were screenshots of text messages between Claire and 2 friends. One message read, "Make sure everyone unfollows Ethan tomorrow." Another, "The more people hate him now, the harder it'll be for him to defend himself later." Then I found something even worse. An email draft. It had never been sent, but it was saved. The subject line read, "How to make sure he never recovers." I couldn't believe what I was reading. Claire had written her strategy like it was a marketing campaign. Create sympathy. Post emotional videos. Encourage friends to share. Contact his employer anonymously. Pressure mutual friends into choosing sides. Never let him explain. I leaned back in my chair. This wasn't revenge after a breakup. This was character assassination. My phone buzzed. It was my younger sister, Lily. The first call she'd made in weeks. I almost didn't answer. "Hello?" There was a long silence. "Ethan," she sounded nervous. "I think I owe you an apology." I closed my eyes. "What happened?" "I ran into Megan today." My heart skipped. She showed me one recording. Another pause. "I can't believe I doubted you." Neither could I. But hearing those words still hurt. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I should have trusted my brother." We talked for nearly an hour. By the end of the call, she promised something. "I'm going to help you." It wasn't much, but after months of standing completely alone, having just one person believe me felt life-changing. The next morning, Lily came over. Together we organized every file, every recording, every screenshot, every timestamp. She looked at me. "You can't just dump this online." "I know. You need proof that's impossible to dismiss." She was right. If I posted everything emotionally, people would accuse me of editing it, manipulating it, seeking revenge. I needed facts. Verifiable facts. That afternoon, Lily noticed something I'd completely missed. Every recording had metadata. Dates, times, locations. Some were backed up automatically to cloud storage. None of it had been altered. Claire hadn't just been careless. She'd been arrogant. She never imagined anyone would see these files. Then Lily found one final folder. It was called Insurance. Inside was a single video, recorded just 8 days before Claire left me. She was sitting in her car, talking directly to the camera. "If anything goes wrong," she smiled, "this should protect me." She leaned closer. "The truth is, Ethan isn't abusive. I just can't leave looking like the bad guy. So people need a reason to hate him." She shrugged. "I know it sounds awful, but once enough people believe it, it becomes reality." The video ended. Neither of us spoke. My sister covered her mouth. "Oh my God. That wasn't just evidence. It was a confession, the kind no lawyer could explain away." I wasn't thinking about clearing my name. I was thinking about accountability. Not revenge, justice. Because Claire hadn't only destroyed my reputation, she'd manipulated hundreds of people into helping her do it. I looked at Lily. "What do we do now?" She smiled for the first time that day. "We don't post anything." I frowned. "Then what?" She picked up her phone. "We let someone with real authority see it first." I raised an eyebrow. "Who?" She answered with 3 words that changed everything. "Claire's new employer." Neither of us knew it yet, But within 48 hours, Claire's perfectly crafted lie was about to collapse in front of everyone she'd fooled. People always imagine revenge as screaming, public humiliation, or getting even. I used to think that too. But after everything Claire had put me through, I realized something. The strongest revenge isn't destroying someone's life. It's refusing to become the person they accused you of being. The next morning, Lily and I met with an attorney. For nearly 3 hours, we showed him everything. The recordings, the screenshots, the metadata, Claire's own video confession. He barely spoke until the end. Then he leaned back in his chair and said, "This isn't just evidence. This is a timeline. For once, the facts tell the entire story." He warned us not to post anything online. Let the truth come from credible sources, he said, not from anger. So that's exactly what we did. Over the next week, certified copies of the evidence were delivered to 3 places: my employer's HR department, Claire's new employer, and an attorney representing Claire. No dramatic Facebook posts, no revenge videos, no emotional captions. Just facts. We waited. 4 days later, I got a call from HR. "Ethan, we'd like you to come in." Walking into that building felt different this time. No whispers, no strange looks, just quiet professionalism. The HR director stood up as I entered. "Ethan, I owe you an apology." She explained that an independent forensic review confirmed the recordings were authentic. The timestamps matched. The files had never been edited. Claire's public statements directly contradicted her own private recordings. Every accusation against me had fallen apart. My investigation was officially closed. My employment record would remain completely clean. For the first time in months, I could breathe. But that wasn't the biggest surprise. The following afternoon, my phone exploded with notifications. Message after message, voicemail after voicemail. People who had ignored me suddenly wanted to talk. One text read, "I didn't know the full story. I'm sorry. I should have asked you what happened." Even the coworker who once called me dangerous asked if we could meet for coffee. I didn't answer right away. Forgiveness takes time, especially when the damage was public. Then Lily called. "You need to see this." She sent me a link. Claire had posted a new video. Only this time, the comments weren't full of support. Someone had leaked part of her confession. Not the entire thing. Just enough for people to start asking questions. The internet, which had once defended her without hesitation, was now demanding answers. People noticed inconsistencies. Old posts resurfaced. Former friends began sharing their own experiences. One woman commented, "She lied about me too." Another wrote, "I stayed quiet because I thought I was the only one." Then another, and another. The story Claire had carefully controlled for months started collapsing under its own weight. 2 days later, local news picked up the story. Not because of gossip, because it involved false public allegations that had affected someone's employment and reputation. They didn't sensationalize it. They simply reported verified facts. That mattered. Truth didn't need dramatic headlines. It only needed evidence. A week later, I received an email from Claire's attorney. She wanted to settle. Privately. She offered to delete every post, issue a statement, and asked me not to pursue legal action. I probably would have accepted immediately. But now, this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about accountability. My attorney responded with one condition: a full public retraction. No vague wording. No excuses. No blaming mental health. No misunderstandings. Just the truth. 3 days later, Claire uploaded one final video. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had once smiled into the camera while planning my downfall. Her voice shook. She admitted she had exaggerated events. She admitted she knowingly made false statements. She admitted I had never abused her. She apologized. Not because she wanted to, because the evidence left her no choice. The internet can be brutal. Within hours, people who once praised her disappeared. Some deleted their comments. Others apologized to me publicly. Many simply pretended they'd never chosen a side. That taught me something. Crowds don't always follow truth. They follow confidence. Until facts catch up. Months passed. Life slowly became normal again. The silence in my apartment no longer felt lonely. It felt peaceful. Cooper was still there, wagging his tail every morning like nothing bad had ever happened. I started hiking again, spent weekends with Lily, even repaired my relationship with my mom. One afternoon, she looked at me across the dinner table. "I'll regret doubting you for the rest of my life." I reached across the table and held her hand. "No. You believed what everyone else believed. Next time, just ask me first." She cried. So did I. About 6 months later, I received one final message from Megan. "Just wanted you to know, because you stood up for yourself." 3 other people finally came forward. You weren't the only one she lied about. I stared at the screen for a long time. That message meant more than any apology. Because this story had never really been about winning or revenge. It was about refusing to let a lie become someone else's permanent truth. People often ask me if I hate Claire. The honest answer? No. Hate would have kept me connected to her forever. Instead, I chose something much harder. I moved on. Sometimes justice isn't watching the person who hurt you lose everything. Sometimes justice is rebuilding everything they tried to take from you. Your name, your peace, your future. Because lies can spread fast, but evidence has a way of surviving. And eventually, the truth always finds its voice.